Now to a striking new development in the Trump administration's immigration crackdown. ICE agents could soon have the ability to deliver a direct electric shock to the people they encounter with their hands. The Trump administration plans to spend millions of dollars equipping immigration officers with gloves that can deliver those shocks. Listen to Border Czar Tom Homan defending this new move.
It's just another tool to help, those who don't want to be compliant, those who attack law enforcement officers, to bring them into compliance without using deadly force. There are literally hundreds of law enforcement agencies across the country already using these. I mean, it's another tool for law enforcement. Yep. And, just simply look at the results on ICE officers. ICE officer assaults are higher than any other federal law enforcement agency in the nation. So they're just trying to protect themselves.
So Homan is positioning this as just another law enforcement tool, a simple alternative to resorting to deadly force. But critics are asking a very important question. What happens when you put an electric shock device directly onto the hands of federal agents who many experts warn haven't received proper training and have already demonstrated a pattern of escalating violence, including several killings since the Trump administration's immigration crackdown began in 2025? Let's bring back in the group chat. Basil, so Tom Homan there saying this is just another law enforcement tool, basically.
Yeah, I am deeply disturbed by this and have a much more disturbing sort of thought that comes to my mind when I saw this story. First, though, it's not just a law enforcement tool. This is a tool for ICE, an agency that has broadened its scope, that this administration has put billions of additional dollars into. This is being given to individuals who, there's been substantial reporting on this, not very well trained. And now they have this extraordinary tool to cause potentially significantly more harm, not just the deaths, but harm and injury to many more individuals. But my zoom out thought is, when I couple this with the fact that Haitian immigrants are being forced to wear ankle bracelets, are we becoming just one big plantation here in this country? I can't escape that feeling. And where is the accountability? Where is the oversight here? I'm nervous because, on the one hand, this administration has cleared a path for 6,500 white South Africans to come to this country under refugee status. But there are going to be ICE agents walking around with electric gloves to be able to casually touch someone and cause injury that could potentially become so normalized that it becomes a regular part, not just of their job, but of other agencies' ability to go after citizens engaged in lawful activity, like a protest.
Well, and you have to remember, too, you would hope that Americans care about the immigrants who are here and the way that they are being physically treated by these agents. But also, American citizens are routinely having their own encounters. And just this week, we got another example of ICE escalating its encounters with U.S. citizens. Congressman Don Beyer shared this. A Virginia native and mother. She's safe after video had showed an agent appearing to draw his gun on her. I'm sure many of you have seen this on social media, while accusing her of trying to run them over. And I just want to show everyone this footage in case you haven't seen it, so you can compare what they claim.
I didn't almost
You almost ran us over.
You're
Stop
so
playing.
full of
Stop playing.
You are full of
You're not funny.
You're not funny.
I will arrest you. Keep it up.
I'm a legal citizen.
Keep it up. I don't care.
Oh my goodness.
We have to call lock you up.
Okay. For what?
The one that tried to run us over.
Run you over when? I got recording.
So she's been recording that encounter. There's no evidence, at least right now, that this woman tried to run these agents over. You see there, they put a gun through a window in this woman's face, Anthony.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it goes back to just the complete unaccountability of ICE. And during the now year and a half of the second Trump administration, this immigration crackdown is also a crackdown on the rights of U.S. citizens. Pretty much any police agency in this country, if a officer pulls out a weapon and points it at someone, anyone, even in the, trying to stop a crime, there's paperwork involved. With ICE, they literally have shot and killed American citizens in the streets without even the slightest, not even like hinting at an investigation. They've denied access to information to local authorities to investigate. So there's just no accountability.
So walking any kind of body cam rollout.
Sure. Yeah, the body cameras are always off. And when when there's no reason for them to be off, they make up excuses that are completely ridiculous about Democrats not funding body cameras. But in the case of these gloves, it's really a terrifying prospect to think that this unaccountable agency, this masked secret police agency that literally has killed U.S. citizens, now has an easier weapon to just use on anyone casually. Now these gloves, they fall into the category of the euphemistically described less lethal weapon, which still can kill people. Like rubber bullets can still kill people. And in the AP's reporting on these gloves, the DHS sources literally said that they're there to benefit weaker and older agents. Now, again, this is an agency that quite openly lowered its hiring standards, lowered people with criminal records, people who have discipline records at other law enforcement agencies, people who are out of shape, people who have anger issues. So these people will now have
domestic abuser in the case of what happened in Maine not long ago.
Right, and just like everything else with ICE, there's extraordinarily little training. There's very little accountability. And like a lot of things that are happening in the Trump administration, this is yet another company with a no-bid contract. So I can't say that any of this is going to bode well for American civil rights.
Dan, do you think that this is a story, an issue that is continuing to resonate with people? Or are the kitchen table issues, the pressure from the Iran war and what's happening in our economy, are they really the main story, to the point where people don't even have time to process any of this?
Yeah, they're flooding the zone. Like, let's be honest. Like every part of our lives, there's just another story that one's worse than the next. And I think the interesting thing about this one in particular is that, local police are the things that we, have a lot of interaction with, right? The whole idea that they are there to protect and to serve. And we like to think that that is 100% the case, and we have respect for them. They're kind of policing our communities and, making us safer. ICE, the way Anthony just described it, or all of us would agree, I mean, this is, a militarized police force in our neighborhoods. And when you think about arming them with tools that they have, not having, the body cams, having the masks on, this is frightening sort of stuff. And if you think that these sorts of devices are going to de-escalate, there's no way to think. The intellectual dishonesty about that of Homan or these folks like suggesting that, so to answer your question, unfortunately, no, it's not going to bubble up. This is not what these elections in the fall are going to be determined by, unfortunately.
I do think they played a bit of a role in Minnesota, certainly in people's decision between Angie Craig and Peggy Flanagan there. The reporting suggests that what happened in Minnesota played a huge role. But Ahmed, I wonder what you see when you take like a state like Maine, for example, where there is a very important race going on there in the Senate. As I mentioned before, this alleged domestic abuser in that case, and the whole continued fallout and protests that continue to happen there. When you imagine adding the dynamic of a tool like this glove into the hands of people like that man, what do you see coming down the road?
I see more escalation coming down the road. I mean, this is truly an insane story to me. I mean, we have basically, ICE does not need shock gloves. They need accountability. Like they have Rene Good and Alex Pretty's killers are still walking free, no criminal charges. Johann Sebastian Guerrero and Lorenzo Araujo's killers are still out there, no accountability. If these were police, we've seen faster accountability for them even during the height of pre-George Floyd, right? This is genuinely a wild story. And after American citizens were killed and legal immigrants who, for what we understand, were following the rules. I mean, you have a 26-year-old here who was effectively had a work permit, right? You can't say you want legal immigration that follows the rules out of one side of your mouth and the other side of your mouth. Kill them if they're trying to follow the rules. So I think if you add shock gloves to this dynamic, it's only going to further escalate it. And they keep lying over and over again about these killings. Every single time they say, oh, the cop, the person was trying to run me over with their car. The interesting thing is, if you were trained properly, you would know the last thing you do when a car is coming towards you is to shoot them. And then time and time again, we find out that they were not going anywhere near them. They were not, in the case of Renee Good, turning away. In the case of these other people, doing absolutely nothing. So they keep lying. They keep killing more immigrants. And now with shock gloves, like you've mentioned, just a real like low key way to escalate. You put just an arm on a shoulder. You might not even know what's happening. So I think this has to be shut down. If we had a functioning Congress, there would be hearings already. That's what on the ballot. We'll see that play out. And hopefully this doesn't end up going to fruition. I think courts might potentially block it as well. We'll see.